Welcome back to the Professional Hate Watching Association. I'm Ethan here with Daniel as always. You know, when we were talking about what we're going to discuss today, there was a lot of, oh, what is this team going to do? What is this person going to do? What is this organization going to do? We are a month into the season and nobody knows what the hell's going on anymore, which I think, in my opinion, I don't know if you share the same way, it sounds like a great NBA season to me.
It's been a spectacular NBA season. Just this week alone, if you think about what happened, honestly, on Monday night alone, you had Cooper Flagg having his best game of his career against Giannis and the Bucks. We'll get into that more in a second. You had Donovan Mitchell hitting a crazy game-tying three against the Heat where he may or may not have stepped out of bounds twice on the play, and then Andrew Wiggins getting a game-winning lob. I think that was the same day Grayson Allen hit 10 threes. Against whoever the Suns were playing. I think Desmond Bane had a game winner that day as well. And then fast forward to what happened yesterday, which is, I guess, what we'll get into to start out.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So, as you mentioned, and for those who follow us on social media, tune into the socials at Tha Misfits Live. Daniel recorded a video talking about how things should be looking up for the Dallas Mavericks after Cooper Flagg's career high 26 points. They did lose, but you know, that's what happens when you play the Bucks more often than not in the regular season, at least. And you talked about how things might be looking up. Don't call Nico Harrison that crazy because, you know, they could be getting better. Obviously, you got to bank on Kyrie coming back healthy, but time has run out on Nico Harrison because yesterday morning at around 10 a.m. Central Time, yes, Shams gave us the exact date and time, Nico Harrison was shown the door. He's fired. He's out as the Mavericks GM. You seem to be the most appropriate person in all of the NBA media's atmosphere to talk about this because you just recorded a video. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so after the game on Monday when Cooper had his career high, one of the better games he's played in the league, I was like, you know what? The Mavs have gotten off to a slow start. They dropped to 3-8 after that loss, but I'm like, just be patient. Just give it some time. You have Anthony Davis sitting on the bench recovering from injury. Kyrie is going to come back at some point from his ACL injury. So my thought was if Cooper Flagg is going to eventually have more games like this, maybe not scoring 26 a night, but looking more confident out there on the floor, when he has more games like that, you're able to get those two pieces back. Two all NBA caliber players, by the way, that are not in the lineup, in Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. You get those guys back. You figure out how to get them all to mesh together. And I think Jason Kidd would have done that. I think he's gotten a lot better as a coach since his days coaching Giannis in Milwaukee. I think he was a good enough coach to try and help you figure all that out. But I think what happened was they obviously made the trade for Luka, which was, can we say, the worst trade in sports history?
I'll call it the worst trade in sports history.
The worst trade in sports history. When you do that and you start out the season 3-8, your two best players are injured and you have no idea when they're coming back, people are going to get impatient. And was I surprised Nico got fired? No. I remember seeing the report that when I recorded the video, I wanted to do it because I saw a report from Tim McMahon, who's an NBA writer for ESPN. And he basically said, it's only a matter of when, not if, Nico Harrison's going to get fired. And it came sooner than I thought it would, but it happened nonetheless. And I mean, would I have made the move? I would have waited a little bit longer because I wanted to see what this team would have been like when they were healthy. What I would have done is, let's see if they make the playoffs this year. If they don't make the playoffs, if they're not competitive with those three guys in there, I would say give him the boot.
The thing is, though, I think the frustration, and obviously it wasn't a frustration with management or the higher ups in the business, in the team, because the team, if there was pushback on that trade, it would have never happened.
Yeah.
I think an article came out from ESPN today that kind of yesterday, I think, I can't remember, that details the fallout pretty much of Nico Harrison being fired. And dude, the Mavs might be in the worst situation of North American sports right now. Like, I know as an NFL guy, I joke about the Saints a lot. Like, the Saints are pretty bad right now too, but at least the Saints are kind of aimlessly wandering in the desert. I don't even know if the Mavericks know where they are. The Saints know they're in a desert, but like, I don't even know if the Mavericks know where they are right now on the map. Because when you think about the Luka trade to start, I think what a lot of Mavericks fans took issue with was because, yes, you traded away a top 5 offensive player, arguably ever, for pennies on the dime comparatively. No disrespect to Anthony Davis and Max Christie, but you never got a real explanation as to why you traded him. Like, you and I both saw those press conferences where they kind of just forced Jason Kidd to sit there next to Nico Harrison. He clearly did not want to be there because he didn't agree with the trade either. And Nico Harrison kind of gave non-answers. He basically just talked about Luka's flaws and didn't really say what these new people were bringing in. Ironically, remember how he said there was questions about his weight and his endurance and his ability to play on the court. You bring in a man whose nickname is literally street clothes.
Yeah.
It just never made sense from the jump. This we're not disagreeing on. I would tell you why I would have fired him after the season, because there were a lot of players
after last season?
This. I would have fired him this summer.
Okay.
Because first of all, I was an NBA rigged number 1 pick truther this offseason. I did to an extent believe that. But Nico Harrison built that roster presumably without planning on getting the number 1 pick. Imagine how much worse this team might not have a win without Cooper Flagg on that lineup. And what made it even worse, there's 2 parts of this that made it that I would have fired him over the summer at some point. Because one, a lot of players, not just the fans, felt screwed over by this. The players that came to Dallas willingly did not get what they signed up for. Look at Klay Thompson, for example. Klay Thompson came to Dallas because he thought he was going to play with Luka Doncic, not a hobbled Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis for 27 minutes this season, and then, that's it.
Yeah.
And then Daniel Gafford, who is forced to be more than a lob threat, which he clearly can't be consistently.
Yeah.
2, with Kyrie Irving's injury into the last season, you knew you were going to need a point guard.
Yeah.
So what did you do? You went and got, drum roll please, D'Angelo Russell. And I'm not saying there was an inherently better option. I'm not necessarily faulting Nico Harrison for going to get D'Angelo Russell, but that was it. You were banking on, at this point you had Cooper Flagg, you were banking on this roster with D'Angelo Russell running point, with no supplement behind him, by the way, because now you got Flagg running point.
Yeah. And
just going to trot him out there and just be like, yeah, let's go do this. And then time will tell if I'm right or not. He clearly wasn't. Time ran out on him. And now you got Cooper Flagg, an 18-year-old playing point guard in the hardest professional basketball league on the planet, playing a position that he is not used to playing.
Right.
Nico Harrison screwed this team over to levels that, I don't even know if Mavs fans will ever comprehend it. It's like a nuclear bomb dropped on the Mavericks franchise, and it's now you got to restart. You got to rebuild from scratch, which is frustrating because, like you said, I will acknowledge there's some good pieces on the Dallas Mavericks. I know we make fun of Klay Thompson, but, I would argue it's because he doesn't have a true point guard facilitating for him. Yeah. He's not a ball handler. This we know. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is great. Kyrie Irving, we don't know what he's going to look like when he comes back, but he's an electric point guard still. So, in theory, this roster is really good. But circumstances are not going to allow that roster to be as good as clearly Nico Harrison thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up on Klay Thompson, because when Klay's days were numbered in Golden State and we knew he was kind of the door, he wasn't looking that good, he was looking to go to another team, he had every single reason to go to the Lakers. And I know if you ask Lakers fans, they think everybody's going to the Lakers. You ask them if anyone's a free agent, they're going to the Lakers. They all think that. But with Klay Thompson, though, for the first time in a long time, there was legitimacy with him wanting to go there. His dad played for the team. They offered him a shitload of money, 4 years, $80 million. But he turned that down, like you said, so he could go to Dallas and play with Luka, because he thought that would give him the best chance to win basketball games, because he would go and play with a guy who's as good as him. And something else that I've been thinking about is, you mentioned it earlier, I don't know if we'll ever fully understand, or I don't know if we'll ever know why the Mavs traded Luka. I don't think anybody will ever come out and just say why it happened. But I do wonder, though, if this was a move that Nico Harrison, as the GM, had full power to orchestrate and execute by himself. Like if he's the one that came up with the idea, executed the trade, and dealt with the fallout. Like I wonder if a move like that, though, did ownership have anything to do with that? Because obviously, if they weren't on board with it, it wouldn't have happened. I don't think.
Yeah, and that is why so many people put the tinfoil hat on as soon as it happened. They were like, "This is the conspiracy." The owners of the Mavericks, they have huge investments in casinos and gambling. It's not allowed in Texas. So, like, what if they just relocate the Mavs to Vegas? Because, the NBA doesn't have a Vegas team yet. Like, there's some merit to the conspiracy, but you also got to think about it like this. Nico Harrison became a general manager of a professional basketball team without sufficient general manager experience prior to this. And part of why I don't know if I fully buy the conspiracy as much as I used to over the summer is because if you look at his moves leading up to the Luka trade, it almost felt like he was just trying to fully scrub the fingerprints of anything Luka related team. Like he got rid of the team favorite trainer of 20 plus years and tried to replace him with somebody who didn't have NBA training certifications. Like he got rid of all of Luka's co-stars. Like he got rid of Quentin Grimes is another funny trade that people don't talk about as often.
Yeah.
I feel like it flared up obviously when he scored 40s plus against the Warriors last year.
Yeah.
But he cleaned house.
Right.
Like it almost felt like this was an ego thing because Luka Doncic is the start and finish of the Dallas Mavericks, right? Of the modern era.
Right.
And when it's all said and done, he probably would have been bigger than Dirk Nowitzki for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
And so everything that was related to him in that franchise is gone. Even Dirk doesn't want to be a part of them anymore. Like,
yeah.
So you can't help but think, as someone who came in to this position with minimal to no experience previously at this same position, you almost feel like it's a power trip thing. He's like, I have this position, I am what makes the Dallas Mavericks turn, kind of like a Jerry Jones type,
right?
Like how it's like, or like remember Eddie Krause in the '90s Bulls, where he's like,
yes,
players don't win championships, ownership does, or I can't remember his quote exactly. It's like it could have been like a power trip like that, and it just went so horribly wrong that, again, I have never seen a trade. I can't think of a trade in my lifetime where the trade has been so lopsided that people thought it was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like the only other one that people point the finger to is the Chris Paul trade veto.
Right.
But what? That was 15 years ago? Like, come on. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, true. And then things are like spiraling out of control even more, like you said, because teams are already calling Dallas wanting to trade for Anthony Davis, even though he's hurt. So the guy that you brought in to establish a new defensive identity in Dallas probably maybe won't even be on the team in February by the time the trade deadline rolls around, because I think now that the Mavs have cleaned house by firing their GM, they're just trying to basically salvage the situation as best they can, get whatever they can for the stars that they have on their team. And I can't think of Kyrie's contract off the top of my head in terms of what the numbers are and who would be willing to take it on. But I mean, I'd imagine he'd be kind of difficult to trade coming off a torn ACL and whatever his contract is.
Mm-hmm.
So now the Mavs are just trying to salvage everything that they can. And yeah, I mean, Nico Harrison getting fired again, I'm not surprised by it. I would have given it more time, but I mean, that's just the nature of the business. When you make a mistake like that, you have to see results quickly.
Yeah. And because he clearly tried to build it as a win now team. That's the reality of it, because they even Luka wasn't even historically speaking, Luka Doncic at his age isn't even in his prime yet.
Right.
But I want to also look at the other side of the coin before we move on. I'll say this really quickly. It is very possible that Nico Harrison is a scapegoat here. That is a very realistic, and we see this very often, where someone in the organization, in the front office, but someone lower on the totem pole, like a general manager, not an owner, is made the scapegoat. And Charles Barkley was talking about this tonight. Obviously, I didn't watch it because YouTube TV still has ESPN blacked out. But Charles Barkley was talking about how Nico Harrison is being made a scapegoat. That's the position he's taking. And while I don't necessarily believe that, personally, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. And I know you don't think that either, considering how weird and greedy so many professional sports leagues owners are, professional sports teams owners are.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put it past them. And I think, ironically, let me use Nico Harrison's quote, which is time will tell if we're right or not. Because if we're right about something, it's going to show not now, but it'll show eventually. Like if we're talking in 5 years from now and the Dallas Mavericks have officially signed on to move to Vegas, then we'll really know what happened with that Luka trade.
Yeah.
But again, the roadblock, wouldn't you want to bring a guy like Luka to Vegas with you? Like, because now you have no stars.
Yeah. You
had a top 5 player in basketball and you just gave him away. Because like if I was relocating to a new city, I would want to bring a player like that with me. But hey, I'm not an owner, so I'm a couple dollars short from becoming an owner. So
yeah. And I mean, I didn't even think about that, the point you made earlier. Imagine if the Mavs somehow didn't, was it rigged? I don't know. Maybe it was. Imagine if the Mavs didn't get the number 1 pick and they didn't have Cooper Flag.
They'd have like 1 win.
Would they'd probably be the worst team in the league.
They arguably are right now.
Yeah.
Like the Dallas Mavericks have the worst offense in basketball. That was another, we keep dragging on to this. We've been at this for about 20 minutes, but like Nico Harrison's other argument was because like Luka didn't play defense. And now there is some merit to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've watched him play basketball, especially in the playoffs. He runs out of gas.
Right.
But it's a balance. If you look at the net ratings of offense and defense for the last, 4 or 5 champions, most of them are either one of the best or above average. I think there's a couple of exceptions here and there. Like I think the 2022 Warriors were subpar actually in offense, but their defense was really great.
Yeah.
But the Dallas Mavericks have the worst offense in basketball. They literally have what did they score? Like less, like 90 something last. I know the Clippers did that too. We'll talk to that about that in a little bit. But like the Mavericks have quite literally the worst basketball offense in basketball right now. And it's one of the worst. Like, just watch them how they play, dude. Like, there's no fluidity because there's no point guard out there.
Right.
And the fact that you have D'Angelo Russell on the roster and you're just not playing him is also telling. Like, it's just, they're a mess. Throw the whole team away. Maybe obviously keep Cooper Flag, but you might need to start from scratch again. I don't know. I think the Mavericks should clean house this offseason, which again, this by the trade deadline, which is upsetting because, if I'm Anthony Davis, I'm like, I just got here.
Yeah.
But he has a $62 million player option or something crazy like that.
Right.
Like, he's going to cash that in when he's 34. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
If I'm Mavericks ownership. So, I don't know. They're a mess. And it's a fate I wouldn't wish on even like my worst enemy, to be honest with you. My worst enemy sports team.
Yeah. Nico fired. That's all.
It was fire Nico till it's backwards, and damn it, it's looking quite opposite. But let's talk about another team. We just spent 20 minutes talking. That's just how outlandish that whole situation is. I want to talk to you about the Clippers because now I've been hate watching the Clippers. We both have kind of for consistently through up to this point. And now it just the experiment. The Clippers win now team is like, you know what the Hindenburg was? That big blimp?
Yes.
They're like the Hindenburg because in theory, it's a really good team. In practice, it's already blown up. It's already burned up.
Yeah.
Now, I don't mean that as disrespect, by the way, for anybody that died on the Hindenburg. I'm just saying, that's essentially what they are. In theory, it was a really great idea, and it hasn't even gotten off the ground, really. Like, the Hindenburg got off the ground. This team hasn't even gotten off the ground because Bradley Beal will have season-ending surgery, and he's done. Now, it's not like he was the focal point of this team, as you know, single-digit point scorer, just not the most efficient. You were saying what? His fall-off needs to be studied?
It needs to be studied, dude. I haven't seen a guy go from averaging 30 to looking like a complete shell of himself like 2 or 3 years later. I just haven't seen it. Unless my basketball knowledge, I'm always limiting myself a little bit, but I can't think of somebody off the top of my head who.
So he 8.2 points, less than a rebound a game, 1.7 assists on 37.5% shooting from the field. It's just, and the Clippers are 3-7. Like nothing. They're leading the Nuggets right now, though, which is kind of funny. But I don't know. I felt like the Clippers as a team, I wasn't buying it, but I don't even think I thought it was going to be this bad.
I didn't think it was going to be that bad either. And in terms of buying stock into them, I wasn't buying it either. I was getting close, though, because it's like this thing always happens at the beginning of the season where you're talking about who the best teams in the Western Conference are. And then it's like, oh, wait, the Clippers are here and they have all these good players on the team. So they should be pretty good. They should be able to compete. And then they come out and lose to the Jazz first game of the season. Have some other bad losses in there too. Did you see the game the other night against Atlanta when they were down 3 and Harden pulled up from the logo
yes.
to tie the game?
Okay, I wasn't that upset at that shot. He makes those sometimes, but
true. But for game though, I don't know.
For game, to tie. No, it wasn't even for game. It was to tie. That was pretty. I mean, but and therein lies the Clippers' experience.
Yeah, and now I was talking about before we started recording. Like, can the Clippers just cut Bradley Beal? Because, I mean, they signed him to a 2-year, like, nearly $11 million contract. So that's like $5.5-ish million per year, fully guaranteed. So, like, good for Beal that he got his guaranteed money, given the fact that he can't play for the rest of the season. But, I mean, the Clippers are paying a guy who won't play for them for the rest of this year. And that's another year added on to this, to the age of all the stars on their team. James Harden's not getting any younger. Brook Lopez and Chris Paul for damn sure aren't getting any younger. And so, like, is it a lost season already for the Clippers? I don't know. It's tough to think about. And then, of course, you always have, like, the aspiration thing in the background. They're still being investigated for salary cap circumvention. So if a bombshell comes out about that, it'll just be, like, one punch after another for the Clippers this year.
The Clippers could very rapidly become the worst situation in basketball. We just spent 20 minutes saying how the Mavs are.
Yeah.
If the Clippers legal troubles catch up with them and they actually have to face repercussions, that takes on a new level of like, oh, you are so screwed.
Screwed, yeah.
You are so screwed. Like, if I had to rank like worst situations, Mavs right now, Clippers very close second. I'd probably put the Grizzlies at third, but you know, the Pelicans up there too. But the Clippers, you're just waiting for the other pin to drop, which is kind of weird because, again, on paper, this team should be a lot better and shouldn't be worried about that. But, you know, it could all come crashing down. I also want to put into context, it's like if I took away his name and his prestige, or I guess lack thereof in 2025, and I just told you that the Clippers lost an 8-point per game scorer at sub 40 shooting splits, you'd be like, dang, that's one less person, but like he's not contributing all that much. So it's not like the end of the world. Like I think they can press on. But then when I tell you that it's Bradley Beal, one of their alleged marquee signings this offseason, then you think, wow, somehow it got worse. Like he wasn't playing well, but like the fact that he's not playing, in my opinion, I actually think makes it worse.
Exactly. And then of course, like I don't want to talk about Kawhi Leonard like this, but of course he's not playing. He's not healthy. He's missed the last 5 games with an ankle injury. I don't know what his timeline is supposed to be. So, I mean, Kawhi Leonard's hurt. Bradley Beal's out for the season. And at this point, you just got to knock on wood and hope that nobody else gets hurt because, like, I really don't know how the Clippers fix this, to be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know how they fix it either. They would have to start over too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's okay for the Clippers because like the Clippers are a second tier franchise in their own city. Like they don't have the same appeal that other, like the Dallas Mavericks. I think once they clean house, despite not being a big market team, it is Dallas though. Yeah. I think that they can probably put some guys together. They clearly have a good track record of draft day moves.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the Clippers do if they blow this up. It's going to happen eventually, obviously, because their players are older.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of does it happen in 9 months or does it happen in 3 years?
Yeah.
So
true.
I don't know. But regardless, though, I think they're on that path, and I don't see a championship coming to them before that happens.
I don't either. And it's also unfortunate given the whole situation with their rebranding. They just rebranded, got New Jersey's logo and everything, and a really, really cool basketball arena at Intuit Dome. So it would be really unfortunate if the Clippers turn into one of the worst teams in the league if everything doesn't work out this season.
And therein lies the new stadium paradox in sports. Have you ever thought about how whenever a team invests in a new sporting arena, football field, basketball arena, it doesn't really matter, they suck after that because their investment in the new arena comes at the, like, it's either built or starts to get built near the end of their tenure of greatness. And then by the time the stadium opens, they're just meh. Like, look at I don't mean to make this about me, but like, look at the Niners, dude. Like when they opened Levi Stadium 11 years ago,
right?
Their best season in it until 2019. Those first 5 years there, their best season was their first one, and they went 8-8. Like,
yeah,
you don't know about them. They don't know about them Chip Kelly days, bro. Days like barely plural because he was there for one season. But yeah, I've never been to the Intuit Dome. You told me great things about it, but it's, I don't know. It was a very Lakers way of building a roster, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, the Lakers always feel the need, like it's the Lake Show.
They went for star power.
They always get starters. It doesn't even matter if they're has-beens.
Yeah.
Like, it really doesn't matter to them. And so how the Clippers built this team was very Lakers-like. Like, I'm like, is this 2017? Is this like the 2017 Lakers again or something? I don't know. We got Roy Hibbert out there. They kind of do. It's Brooke Lopez.
True.
So, I don't know. Clippers aren't winning a championship this year. I think that's safe to say. Speaking of championships, though, there is a change to not the NBA Finals, not the in-season tournament, but to the All-Star game. Another change. The DJ Khaled of commissioners, Adam Silver, goes another one. He's talking about, they announced the new All-Star format, which is interesting. So I don't know if you felt this way, but when I saw the announcement and the headlines, I thought, is that not just the same thing that we did last year? But then I read into it, and it's USA versus World for this round robin tournament. That's how it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just thought it was because it was round robin last year. It's like, wait, didn't we do this last year? Right. But no, it's round robin, but with a twist.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of looking forward to it because do you disagree?
Like, okay, here's the dilemma that I have with the All-Star game. We call for East versus West. They give us East versus West. And it's fun for 1 year. And then the year after that, it's not fun anymore because the fans want something new. But I don't think it's the format, really. It's the fact that the players just don't give effort. Now, I'm not one to tell a grown man who plays basketball and makes tens of millions of dollars for it how he should play basketball.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm not qualified to say that. But I think it's very clear when anybody who watches the game sees that, okay, these guys aren't giving their best effort, which you have a lot more money on the line nowadays. You can't risk to get hurt in the All-Star game. I understand all of that, but you mean to tell me there can't be like some sort of financial way to resolve this or something? I don't know. My point is, I don't think it's getting to a point where we've tried so many different formats and people just don't seem as increasingly interested. It's like, when are we going to realize like the call is coming from inside the house? It's not the format, it's the player's product they're putting out there.
If I were to put myself in the shoes of the commissioner and the league and what they were thinking when they were trying to go for this format, I think they were trying to resemble the closest thing they can to the Olympics in the NBA season, because around the Olympics, everyone obviously has a lot of pride for the country that they represent, especially the European players. I mean, Giannis said before the season that winning a bronze medal in Eurobasket was his greatest achievement ever. And he's won an NBA championship and finals MVP.
And multiple MVPs too.
Exactly. And I think what they're going for with this format is, I think it's like a last ditch effort to try to get the guys, particularly the American players, to really try and step up to the plate and show that they can compete with these European guys. Because if you look at what like the potential starting lineup could be for the world team, it's Shea, Luka, Giannis, Wemby, and Jokic. Like those are the 5 guys that are going to be in there.
Those are arguably the 5 best players in basketball right now.
Exactly. And I think what the NBA is trying to do for this is they're trying to get like that juice that we just got in the Olympics last summer in 2024, how hard Team USA was playing to get that gold medal. I think they're trying to get something similar with this. And I think it could work because I feel like American players, at least if I was in the NBA and I was one of the best American-born players, I would get pretty sick and tired of hearing about how the European players are always showing us up. We can't compete with these international players. The international players just want it more. They're hungrier. They love basketball more. And I mean, we haven't had an American-born MVP since James Harden won it in 2018, I think it was. Every year it's been a guy born outside of the United States ever since. And so I think I would look at it from the standpoint of they're trying to sort of recapture that magic for the Olympics where it's like, we're putting the American guys up against the international guys. Who wants it more? Like, I think that's what they were trying to go for when they made this format. That's kind of what I thought of it.
I know I didn't think of it like that. That's actually a fair opinion. My opinion isn't exactly changed, but now I have a better. I think you kind of your best point was you kind of just said it so nonchalantly. I know that's what you do, but you know it players born in the United States. It went from over the last 10 years. It slowly went from you are the best player in basketball, or you are one of the best players in basketball, to you are now one of the best American players in basketball. Right. So I think that in and of itself, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I think it's a beautiful testament to the world is catching up when you give the world equitable resources to what the American players have. Yeah, of course, there's going to be players that shine through from overseas. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's competition that the NBA yearns for and desperately needs. And so, yeah, I think it's my one thing is that I'm not trying to be nitpicky or anything, but you know, a lot of these guys are not wearing the USA, and I think that was a big unification thing for it in the Olympic. We're talking about capturing the Olympic energy, but also like again, it's the All-Star game. You're not going for a gold medal in this. So I didn't think of it like how you brought it up, and I actually, you know, my perspective has changed on it now. But you're not competing for a gold medal. You're not competing for. That's true. You're not competing to be put in the history books like how you are when you compete in the Olympics. It's just for pride mostly. It is for pride. But if you couldn't already tell, the lack of a 1v1 tournament in the NBA All-Star game shows that they have too much pride really to be shown that they are. That's why they don't try. They're just nonchalant about it. But
yeah, I don't know. East versus West, like playground style drafting that they did for those few years. I mean, I can see why the players won't get up for a game like that, but I think when you're putting American-born players up against international players, I think it could honestly, you could think of it like this too. The international players would probably take it way more seriously because they'd probably want to kick the shit out of all the. But it has to be a two-way street though. That's another thing, and it's apples to oranges, kind of, sort of, more like oranges to lemons. Look at the Rising Stars game that they used to have. That was USA versus the world, and that wasn't necessarily a very competitive game in terms of, you know, the product. I don't remember people being like, "Dude, I gotta watch the Rising Stars game." I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Granted, it was on a Friday night, but so I think I do agree that your reasoning for why they changed it makes a lot more sense. I thought it was just, you know, doing it just because they can. It's something new they haven't done. It's something new. Yeah, but that actually does make sense. I guess we'll, again, to quote Nico Harrison again, time will tell if they're right on this, because we will know very quickly if it works. Here's another thing, though, and maybe this will change because there's so many more. I complain a lot about broadcasting, like the broadcasting licenses and the 17 streaming sources you need to watch NBA games. Speaking of that, really quickly, how about Kings Nuggets yesterday on NBC starting at 8 Pacific time? How about that? Dude, the Warriors have already played like 2 games at 8 Pacific time. This is nothing new. Yeah. I hate it. It's so, dude, what if I was an East Coast Warriors fan?
What do you mean my game starts at 11?
Yeah.
Bro. Anyway, my other thing, we haven't even talked about this yet. A lot of issues that people had with last year's All-Star game, it felt like one giant infomercial with basketball commercial breaks in it.
Yeah.
Like, the whole Kevin Hart bit was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's another part of it as well, because we're taking so much away from basketball. Now,
Right.
I think if it was an actual, like, if it was less of whatever the hell we saw last year, I think it would just, more people would have time to focus on, you know, the lack of effort from the players in the tournament, in the game. And people did focus on the flaw of how a team of rising stars almost won the whole thing. But the broadcast of it was so poor and so sellout-esque, which is crazy coming from a company worth billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, it was so, I can't believe you've done this. Or, like, let's be so for real. That was another element that, like, me especially, and I know you were too, because we watched this, like, we were just like, what are we watching here?
Yeah.
What are we watching? And so I think that's another element that not a lot of people are talking about right now. And that is something that the NBA has full control over.
Yeah.
The NBA has now, well, because I think it could also have something to do with the broadcast, like whoever broadcasts the game. But the NBA can make it very clear, like, hey, like, what we did last year, that did not work. So let's not do that again. The NBA has more control over that, I should say. Maybe not full, but they have more control over that than the players giving full effort. I think presentation is on track to be better.
Yeah.
Like how you said, USA versus the world. That is marketed as a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And I think if they market it right, it can be like, oh, this is kind of Olympics energy. Right. What do you mean it's USA versus the world? Like,
yeah,
I think that could be cool. But again, if the presentation's horrible, then nobody's going to, I'm going to turn it off 5 minutes into the first quarter.
So then do you think they have to do something kind of like what they're doing with the NBA Cup, where there's like a certain financial incentive for the winning team, or like,
all I'm going to say is they did that for, well, I guess it was for charity, but they did that for the 2020 All-Star game, which we infamously, or not infamous, but like we famously remember as the best All-Star game of the last, I don't know, 10 years probably.
Yeah.
And there was a financial incentive there.
Yeah.
So why not? I don't see why you couldn't do that. And especially if you're going to have poor like infomercial like presentation, like how you did last time, a financial incentive for the players is the least you could do.
Yeah.
I think it's a give and take type of thing. Now, you can also easily do the financial incentive without the infomercial style fucking broadcast that you run.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The NBA squeezes as much money as they can out of everything they can.
But you wouldn't view having a financial incentive as something, you say do it because the players, it's good for the players, but you don't think it would necessarily make them want to play harder. Like, oh, I have a chance to win like a couple more $1,000 if you.
Oh no, I think it would.
Okay.
Like, look, that was why I brought up the 2020 All-Star game. Again, that wasn't money going to them necessarily because it was for the charities.
Yeah.
But they threw hundreds of thousands of more dollars on the line, and you know that fourth quarter was cinema.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth it to try it, especially you're trying all these other things. You don't want to like you can't throw like another $500,000 at the winner. Winner take all, by the way. You have to make it winner take all. You can't do $500K for the winner, $250 for the second place. Yeah. Don't do that. No. Don't do that. No. You do $500K for the winner take all, each player.
Yeah.
I do think that would make a change. I mean, granted, all these all-star players already make a lot of money, but dude, $500K is $500K. Like, so yeah, I think that's worth investing in. But I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell.
I'm gonna be watching. That's all I know. All I know is I'm gonna be watching.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna watch it too.
So
All-Star Weekend, just as a whole, like, I think a lot of fans, and you agree or disagree with me based on what I'm about to say. All-Star Weekend needs a very big revamp, but not a lot of fans know what that is because it seems like they've run out of creative changes. You get what I'm saying? It's gotten to a point where I feel like the fan discourse is a lot of whining without solutions, which is complaining. And that gets us nowhere, obviously, because all they're doing is talking about how bad the dunk contest is, or like, oh, how I don't care about the skills challenge. I only thought it was funny when Chris Paul tried to cheat. Like, the only highlight the highlight I can remember, aside from the bad Kevin Hart bit from the All-Star game last year, was Sabrina versus Steph in the 3-point contest. That was a great idea.
Yeah.
So the NBA proves they can still do it sometimes. Unk still got it, but like, I don't know. The NBA, like the whole All-Star weekend needs a revamp, and I don't know what it is. That's why I don't really complain, because I can't provide a solution. I don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's also just the lack of aura now too, the corporatization of the whole thing. I think that's also part of it.
Yeah.
It's just the fire's gone.
Someone needs to ignite it. Bring it back.
The fire is gone. Yeah. Speaking of igniting, before we go, I'm going to use the last little bit of, well, actually, before we go into this last bit, I made a graphic for this second part, but I want to point out something that was really funny. I texted you about it yesterday. Stephen Curry got his first flagrant foul in his entire career last night.
Yeah.
And it was because Tony, I didn't even see you in the chat. I'm sorry. These players need to stop caring about the bread.
Tony's in here? Let's go.
Yeah, Tony's in the chat. We're recording on a Wednesday, so he's not with Views from the Sidelines right now.
With Eck and friends.
Yeah, with Eck and friends. Except Eck's not even there. Eck's nowhere. Eck is despawned. But what was I? Steph Curry got his first flagrant foul, which I made the point to you, which was his foul. He got the flagrant foul on a deep three. I want to say it was Isaiah Joe who shot the three. And again, can't trust a man with two first names. But Never. You can never trust a man with two first names. But Stephen Curry's foul occurred because he landed in Isaiah Joe's landing space. Isaiah Joe, when he came down from his shot, his foot landed on Stephen Curry's foot, which is Eck is like the Kyrie guest star appearance on it. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Any new viewers of like the last like 2 months have no idea even who this is. They probably can't even put a name to a face.
His podcast, by the way.
Yeah, this is his idea, but he's a work from home CEO. We'll just put him at that. But I pointed out to you that that's the exact rule that got implemented because Zaza Pachulia landed in Kawhi Leonard's landing space in the Western Conference Finals that essentially changed that whole trajectory of that series.
Yeah. Like the Warriors, I think we're still going to win. It just would have been a lot more competitive.
Well, the Spurs were blowing them out when Kawhi Leonard got hurt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they swept them, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a sweep.
Yeah.
Every game after that was a blowout for the Warriors.
Yeah, so I think that the irony was not lost here. Even as a Warriors fan, I was like, wow, that's
I was surprised. I mean, I guess it's not super surprising that Steph has never picked up a flagrant foul before in his career. But I mean, it's not Steph isn't known for his defense. So I was more surprised to find out that was the first flagrant foul in his career.
Oh, yeah, no, me too.
So,
he's gotten ejected multiple times.
Yeah.
As Tony points out, if Curry deserved a time for that, they should have tacked it to him when he tossed his mouth guard at a fan in the finals. Yeah, I remember that.
I was just going to bring that up. Curry's thrown his mouth guard at people more than he's picked.
Then he has flagrant fouls
in the NBA.
If I had $1 for every time Steph Curry threw his mouth guard at somebody, I'd have $2, which is like not a lot, but like, why do I have $2?
Yeah, exactly.
It might be even more, but I think of two. I think of the Cavs, and then I think of that one against the Grizzlies.
Against the Grizzlies, yep. And the funny thing about that one was they were going to lose that game anyway. He was just picking up a garbage time layup to try and make the score a little closer. Like they were playing the foul game when they were down 5 with like 10 seconds left or something.
Yeah,
like, they were going to lose that game. And Curry and Durant, I think, both got ejected at the same time in that game. They both got kicked out at the end of the game. So.
The Warriors were such a great team back then that I think people don't always remember how like goofy they were. Like that was such an unserious in my opinion, that was arguably the most unserious era of basketball. Like 2017 to 2019, like the Raptors won a title for crying out loud.
I feel like the Warriors were kind of like the opposite of the Hornets. Like you could argue that they also were a team where everybody was hooping with one AirPod in, except they actually knew what they were doing and they were good. That's kind of like what the Warriors were during their dynasty.
As I look back on it, it felt all very like kind of like elementary. But I think that's just because they were all those players at the top of their game.
Yeah.
let's go into a last bit. This is new to you. You're not. I told you about this. I texted you about it yesterday.
Any part of this,
but you are completely new to this, just like to how Tony or anybody else in the chat is going to see this for the first time. I had an idea. I was watching the Thunder publicly execute the Warriors last night, and I not blacked out on the NBC, on the local NBC channel, by the way.
Thank God.
Because they knew not to make that a national game. As the Thunder were blowing them out, I thought to myself, okay, I am a little biased because they are blowing out my team. However, the Thunder are not fun to watch play basketball. And so I texted you about it. I said, am I tripping, or are the Thunder like not a fun team to watch? And you go, yeah, no, like even like we get, there's SGA, FTA, like we get those jokes a lot, but there's nothing like entertaining about them. It just feels like, and again, I wanted to see if I was biased. So I obviously asked the next most credible source I knew, which was you. But it got me thinking, if the Thunder aren't fun to watch, somebody's got to be on the opposite, because, you know, if somebody's not fun, there's got to be an opposite. There's two sides. So I created what I call basketball versus hoops, which is, you know, if you're playing like everybody in the league plays basketball. Not everybody hoops though.
Right. So
the translation here is I got the five least fun teams to watch they're playing basketball by definition. Yeah. But the five most fun team to watch, they're hooping. All right. So with that in mind, I can see the photo I put in the middle. With that in mind, I'm going to show you this. And so these are what, in my opinion, that is Zion. That is Drewski guarding Zion Williamson in 2K, by the way. This is, in what my opinion, the five most fun and least fun teams to watch in the NBA. Now, I'll start with least fun because I feel like that's a little more like the Magic are extremely disappointing right now. Like there's no denying that. We talked about this already. The Pelicans, partially they're there for the bit with Zion right there, but like they're kind of also wandering the desert. Ironically, they're also in the same city as the Saints. So like the jokes write themselves. The Clippers.
Did you see Boogie Cousins say that they should relocate? Did you see that?
They're going to Vegas. I wouldn't be surprised if they go to Vegas. Actually, that's the real. Maybe it's all a smokescreen. Maybe the Mavericks saga is all smokescreen for the Pelicans to go to Vegas. And the worst part is, like, I would feel bad for the people in New Orleans, but like, I don't know. It's not. I feel like it's kind of a lateral move, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Then I got the Clippers. I already had them on this graphic before the Bradley Beal injury news, by the way. Now I probably should have I could have put them even lower. The Thunder I put at 2. I think this is projecting. I will acknowledge that this is fully projecting. I just do not enjoy watching the Thunder beat up on my team. And I know I'm the last person to talk because 7 years ago, my team would run teams out, walk them out of the building by the end of the third quarter because all they would do was shoot threes. So I'm not really one to talk. Okay. But I do feel like to justify my point here, beating somebody by shooting the lights out from the parking lot is a lot more interesting than what SGA is doing. And the least fun team to watch is obviously the Mavericks. I already explained this to you. The worst offense in basketball, probably in the last 5 years, probably. Yeah. They're there. Honorable mention, I was going to put the Pacers, but that's just because they don't have Tyrese right now.
Yeah.
Like when Halliburton's out there, they're a very fun team to watch.
I agree. I agree with that. Even though I hate them to the core, I do like watching them play.
Tony goes, I'm not going to lie. I don't feel like I can name a dope highlight from the Thunder this year or even last year.
What about when SGA traveled like 5 times when he hit that fadeaway over? I think it was Mathurin in game 4 of the finals last year.
That was a highlight.
Yeah, that was a highlight.
So those are teams that play. Those are teams that by definition play basketball. Here are 5 teams that hoop. So I feel like I can't create a list without the Nuggets, but I didn't know what was going to spite you more with 5 and 4, and I decided to put 4 above 5 for that exact reason.
I can't believe the Heat are even on this list.
Are even in consideration. So I put the Nuggets at 5. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. I know you are a number 1 Jokic fan, so you'll understand this. You got the shirt and everything. So I I put them at 5. They're just a well-oiled machine. Jokic inherently is just like, I don't know. He's such an anomaly in basketball because of his size and his finesse that it's just like you can't help but just pay attention to it. I got the Heat at 4. Now, let me be clear. There is some merit to this. I put them at 4, though, just to spite you, because I do think that we were talking about this last night with Norman Powell. Like,
Thank you, Tony, in the comments.
The no Blazers, I have them as the honorable mention. It was good between that and the Warriors, but I can't put the Warriors there after last night's performance. They did beat the Spurs, though, and I have the Spurs at number 1. I'll get to that in a second. But I have the Heat at 4. I think Norman Powell, like, he's playing really well.
The Heat are leading the league in scoring.
That's also why. And so, like, what a timeline we live in, Daniel, where the Dallas Mavericks in 2025, imagine telling somebody in 2023 that the Dallas Mavericks would have the worst offense in basketball and the Heat would have the number 1 offense in basketball. Now, you'd probably say, oh, they must have had to have gotten rid of Luka or something. And then whoever was talking to you would like go silent because they'd be like. So I got the Heat at 4. The Lakers, it's the Lake Show. Somebody called them the Lake Snow because it's just 3 white dudes hooping right now before Bron gets back. And so, but they're like, I wouldn't put the Lakers here. I don't buy into it unless they're actually playing well, and they are playing well. So I put them at 3. I got Cade and them at number 2, man. We were talking about this recently, how, you texted me, you go, your Pistons take is aging better and better. Now, because they're playing really well, I'm going to just lie and say that I already said that they were going to the finals, which don't watch the older episodes. But the Pistons they're firing, no pun intended, firing on all cylinders. I think that they are clearly trying to, they're making a claim for that to the top of the Eastern Conference right now. Now, we saw this with the Magic last year. So let's see if they can actually hold on to it. But so far, so good. And I don't know. The Spurs at number 1, it's like, dude, you got Wembanyama, man.
Yeah.
Now, the honorable mention here, I lied, Tony. Like the Blazers, I went between the Blazers, the Warriors, and then Milwaukee just because Giannis. Like, I feel like the logic behind Wembanyama being the main reason why the Spurs are number 1 would be like why the Bucks should be up here. But yeah, that's my 5 for both sides. Do you have any objections?
I would say I would have some, like, just off the top of my head, some suggestions that I would have.
No, provide an objection. Who do you want up there?
Okay, I think for the least fun, I think the Kings should be on there because I absolutely hate watching the Kings play basketball. I hate them so much, and that's mainly because they beat the Bucks earlier this year in a fluky game that Milwaukee should have won that the refs stole from us. The Kings are not fun to watch at all. I don't like watching a 50-year-old DeMar DeRozan go out there and shoot 80 million mid-range shots a game. He's basically what Shea is going to be in like 10 years. Like, I don't like watching that every night. Zach LaVine, he's good on some nights, but most nights he's going to be chucking up a lot of shots. He's probably, knock on wood, of course, not going to last the whole season because he's an injury-prone player. Domantas Sabonis, like, I don't know. There's just nothing there in terms of aura for me. Double machine, great player, but
there's nothing. Well, clearly it's not there for anybody else because he wasn't I don't think he was an all-star last year, right?
I don't know. He wasn't. And Russell Westbrook, it's a good story. He's been playing well to start out the season, but like
we've seen this movie before.
Come on, like Russell Westbrook in the big 2025. And I didn't even mention Dennis Schroeder, who's arguably the most like annoying player to play against. Like as a fan, like when my team is playing against Dennis Schroeder, it's just something inside of me. It just makes me really, really annoyed. Like he's very annoying to play against. And probably because he's like a god in FIBA, like international ball. Like Germany wins basically every FIBA tournament now because Dennis Schroeder just turns into like Michael Jordan. I don't know what it is. Yeah, the Kings are just not a likable team. I would put them in least fun, and I would probably put them above. They would be in my top 3 for least fun.
So would you push the Magic out then?
I would push Orlando out.
Okay.
Because I do like watching, like, for what it's worth, I know they're not winning a lot right now. I do like watching Paolo play. Desmond Bane every now and then can catch fire. So like Orlando they have something there. Like the Kings are just so awful. Like I can't stand them.
I need you to be honest with me, and you don't have to answer this. You can just, plead the fifth here. Is your hatred of the Kings driven by the fact that they are based in Sacramento?
No, not even. No, I don't care about that. I just don't like them as a basketball team.
Okay. See, okay. I will not lie to you. When I was making this, I thought about the Kings because the Kings are just kind of there. They're kind of just floating around in the NBA. But I couldn't bring myself to do it because Russell Westbrook just dropped a triple-double on the Warriors in a game that they also really should have won. Not because the refs screwed them, but because they literally just fumbled. Like that was fully the Warriors' fault. So yeah. I couldn't. I just recency bias. I couldn't bring myself to do it. What about top five? What about the five most fun?
The five most fun. I'm honestly not that dude. I did not know the Heat were leading the league in scoring. If you had told me that, I would have been like, I wouldn't have believed you. I would have had to look it up myself. Like, that's insane.
That's why they're on there, by the way. Like, if they weren't leading the league in scoring, like, I would not put them there. And I'd probably put like the Blazers or the Bucks at number 5.
Spurs being number 1, no problems with that. I think, like, outside of Giannis, Wemby is my favorite player right now to watch in the league. The stuff he's doing on a night-on-night basis is just not even believable. It's unreal. The Pistons at 2, they've been super fun to watch. Cade, 46-point triple-double on 45 shots, by the way, against the Wizards to beat them in overtime.
Those are my career numbers.
But, like, they're hooping. And, I mean, what the Lakers are doing right now, you got Austin Reeves. I think he's still averaging 30.
Something around there, yeah.
Luka's doing his thing. LeBron's going to come back at some point. I'll make my case for why I think the Bucks should be in most fun, and I'll try to put my subjectiveness aside as a
You
fan.
are the most objective basketball knowledge person we have at the Misfits.
I think when you're watching Giannis play, he's a guy who gives you 30, 12, and 6 a night on 70% shooting. It might not be the most fun 30 points, but I mean, he's still a monster in transition. Arguably the greatest, along with like prime LeBron, transition player we've ever seen in the NBA history.
Like Miami Heat era LeBron, yeah.
Nobody can stop that man if your defense is not set. And the Bucks shoot a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes. That's what the NBA is today, nowadays. So if you're looking for a team that shoots and makes a lot of threes, I think Milwaukee's up there. And then they're centered around a guy who is the most dominant interior scorer since Shaquille O'Neal. So, yeah. I mean, that would be my case for putting the Bucks up there. And I'm not going to argue the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets deserve to have a spot in there as well. So I think what I would do in terms of modifying the list, the only logical thing would be is to kick the Heat out and put the Bucks at 4. That's my conclusion.
I can't really be mad at that, to be honest with you. Tony asks, does Houston fall closer to least or most fun? I feel like I'd put them in the top, like in the top half of most fun. I feel like they're closer to being most fun than they are least fun. I think it's hard to put a Kevin Durant led team in like the bottom half of the league for like fun to watch.
I'm gonna make a case for why they could be in least fun. I think it's because they haven't fully to the extent figured out how to utilize Kevin Durant properly. I think he's still trying to find his role on this team, and I think when you're looking at a guy who's fun to watch, I don't know if Alperen Şengün like jumps off my screen in terms of viewability. And like Amen Thompson's really good. I just think the way Houston plays on defense, they make games very scrappy and competitive and ugly. They're like the Miami Heat, but they can actually score. And I know the Heat are leading the league in scoring, but like historically, they haven't been a good scoring team.
I know that joke doesn't work this year.
Yeah, Houston makes games really ugly, and KD isn't playing his best basketball game.
Because they have class act Ime Udoka as their coach.
Yeah, so like that's the case I would make for putting them in least fun. That would be my argument.
That's fair. Tony also asks for you to explain why Ryan Rollins is becoming the GOAT.
I honestly don't. I think it's just because he's getting the minutes. I feel like he's always had the potential. He showed flashes of it last year. He just wasn't getting the playing time because they obviously had Dame and KPJ in there. And I mean, the Kevin Porter Jr. injury this year has been a blessing in disguise, aka Scoot. And I think Ryan Rollins being able to get those minutes has really allowed for him to grow. And I think he fits really good next to Giannis. So hopefully when Scoot comes back from injury, he still has a really big role in the lineup. Maybe it's also because like just shoplifters are just good in the NBA. When you steal conditioner from Target, it just turns you into a really, really good basketball player. So that also might have something to do with it.
That's crazy. Tony goes, agreed. Loki, the most part of this of the Rockets is Thompson's athleticism and Reed Shepherd pissing me off and then making me happy after he pulls a pull-up three. Tony, I think you're not the longest tenured Rockets fan I know. I'm pretty sure Caleb Carter is the longest tenured Rockets fan I know. But that's all I got. This is my list. I hope you enjoyed the artwork that I put on there.
I did enjoy it.
So that's all we got for this week's episode of the Professional Hate Watching Association. We will be back next week. Stephen Curry dropped 40 plus today, by the way, to beat the Spurs, which is, cool. Did not see that one coming. Unk still got it, bro. He still got it. But that's all we got. Any closing thoughts?
No. Hopefully the All-Star game's good. Nico fired, and yeah, that's it.
And the Clippers might just continue to sink.
Yep.
I don't know. The Clippers are tanking for one of the Boozer twins.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, that's all we got for this week. We will see you next week.